Necessary endings.
Necessary endings.
Necessary endings.
Necessary
For new beginnings. When you call for your new appointed seasons, there will be necessary endings for new beginnings. In Exodus chapter 24, verse 1 through 7, we learn from the children of Israel that it's in times when we are in our most despair that God wants to teach us something. As I travel across the country and talk with pastors and leaders, bishops, I only take a breath and smile at some things that they share with me, because you can't teach what you don't know. You don't know any more than what you allow God to take you through. Sometimes I've wondered why I've had to experience certain things in ministry, only to come to the point in seasons of your life that you understand why that was part of the plan. This promise tonight came from God to the children of Israel at a bleak period of their history. They are in captivity. They have lost everything they thought they would keep forever. They were homesick for the land. The blessing God had promised them. The reliability of any promise depends on the personality that gives the promise. Have you ever met folk that would tell you something and you know you can bank on it? Older folks say that's just hot air. But you can't depend on anything they say. But there are some folk that will give you a word. And you know that that word you can trust it. So the reliability of any promise depends on the capability, the integrity, and the generosity of the one making the promise. When you examine God based on these qualities and understanding that God has a track record, we can see that his words and promises are very reliable. You can and will receive the blessings if we can do two things: wait on him and wait for him. Help me say, wait on him.
Wait on him.
And wait for him.
Wait for him.
They sang a song when I was growing up that said, "You can't hurry God." That's probably before you were born. You were born then. No, you just have to wait. You got to trust him. Give him time, no matter how long it takes. They said he's a God that you can't hurry. Bless you, man. Listen, you'll be there, don't worry. He may not come when you want him. He's on time. Help me say, wait on him.
Wait on him.
Wait for him.
Wait for him.
It was a great day for the children of Israel. They affirmed a new covenant with God, recognizing that they were embarking on a new life. They were no longer slaves in Egypt. Being with slavery is like being in prison. You can be so used to it that when you come out, you don't know what to do.
Yes.
They could be their own nation again, and but it would mean some changes. Help me say some changes. It would mean switching some thinking. It would mean new priorities. God was ready to do something new for Israel, but was Israel really ready for what God wanted to do? When I saw the theme that said, "It's a new season," I laughed and I said, "Okay, God, I hear you," because it is a new season. It's a new season in Washington, D.C. like we've never seen. it's a new season when we look at the events and things in our world that we are seeing manifest. God was repositioning them for the new things he had planned. The first step to embracing the new thing. I come to talk to Louisiana Central tonight. I come to talk to this leader tonight, to his wife, to the district missionary. I come to talk to Pastor Black and my preacher. I come to talk to Brother Hamilton over there. I come to talk to my organists and my drummers and the children. That the first step to embracing the new thing that God wants to do in your life is to change your focus. You got to quit looking behind. You got to start looking ahead. Because God used the experiences that Israel had gone through to mold them into the people he wanted them to be. And God will do the same with us. He will use your experiences that you have gone through to mold you into the person, to the woman, to the man, God, the boy, the girl that he wants you to be. See, the children of Israel had many victories in their past. Leaving Egypt, conquering the land of Canaan, fighting respective conquerors, and they even survived a split in their country. When you survive, when the enemy sends a storm to destroy you, but God only allows it to be a moment of distraction. When the enemy sends something that he knows is going to break your spirit, and yet God allows you to survive that. Now Israel, now they're in captivity. All their previous victories were doing nothing to set them free. They needed a new work. They needed a new miracle, and they needed a new victory. So God takes the good times, he takes the bad times, he takes our hardships, and he takes the times of our celebration. See, understand, you can't party all your life. You can't dance all the time. Come on. There are times God will put you in the crusher. Because anointings don't come because you fasted 3 days. Anointings don't come because you read Genesis to Revelation. Your anointing comes by how much you're willing to take the stretching and the crushing and the breaking and the bending. It is through these good times that God wants to learn things about him and learn things about ourselves. Trials come to teach us some things. Those attacks of the enemy come to teach us some things. By the way, let me remind you that you don't have to do anything for the devil to attack you. Your anointing attracts attack. I need you to tell your neighbor, your anointing attracts attack. The call upon your life attacks. Stop saying, what did I do to deserve that? You didn't do anything. Just the fact of who you are. The fact that his fingerprints are all on your life. Yeah. Every time he blessed Israel with good things, they return evil things to him. Sounds like many folk today. I've seen folk and they say, Pastor, I pray I get this release, and the first thing I'm going to do is bring my time. They get the release and you don't see them for 2 years.
Come on now. Come on.
I know they don't act like that in Louisiana. I'm only talking like that. Pastor, you pray that God bring me through this and get me up out of this bed, and when I get up out of this bed, I'm going to be faithful. And, they get healed, and then the next thing you know, they're waiting at home for a call to see if somebody loves them. But they can catch the bus and Uber and go everywhere else they want to go, but you don't see them after they get Israel, God gave them the temple. They gave him idol worship. God gave them truth. They lived and proclaimed a lie. God gave them his commands, and they lived like they were suggestions. God gave them himself, and they gave him nothing except rejection. The same folk that he blessed.
Yes.
Your time of being blessed is your most dangerous time.
All right.
The times of all your ducks are in a row. time that you think you're most secure in your job, and in your career, in your profession. That we take our guard down and we tendency to get relaxed. That is the time you are most vulnerable.
Yes.
Yet God still loved them. He earnestly wanted to help them change. Notice God's message to them in the text tonight. Can I talk for a few minutes?
Yes, sir.
Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. God was not condemning them for their past because they could do nothing to change it. Yet, instead, he was holding out his hand of hope. And that's what he's doing for so many here tonight. That's what he's doing to me. That's what he's doing for you. He's holding out a hand of hope. And he's doing that because in the hand of hope is being extended to you. But he is in effect saying, forget about your past. There are some things that have happened in your life, happened in ministry, and it hurts. There are painful things that you could be experiencing right now. But he says, I'm giving you an opportunity to start over. Help me say necessary endings for new beginnings. And he says, even to those that walk in sin or backslid, that the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our God he will abundantly pardon. So God with Israel wanted to change the system. And today I see God as I move across the country, as I speak in different denominations, of different ministries, to different ethnic groups, that God wants to change the system of how you have been doing your life and the way you have been doing life. In fact, God, this is a district meeting, wants to change the system of how we have done ministry and have thought it was ministry. It was really religious rituals that we have been going through. You've done it this way. There's something called in theory, and it's called the universality of endings. Can I talk about that for a minute? It may be time, I'm just talking to Louisiana since I'm here, for some of you to end some things so the new thing can be found. So I need you to ask me, why ending? Ask me, why ending? Ask me.
Why endings?
I can't hear you. Ask me, why ending?
Why endings?
Whether we like it or not, endings are a part of life.
Yeah.
You know, I had some things in my garage. And, I remember my wife had said to me years ago, the winter, she said, you know, we need to be able to get at least all the cars in the garage. That was a hint to get the garage straightened out. But I had collected, you know, a lot of things, had stuff in there, and I said I might need that. And wallpaper from 30 years ago in the house. And nobody had wallpaper like that in cans. And things in the chairs and things in there. And so I kept feeling the pressure from her to get that garage straightened out. And so I told some brothers at the church, look, I need y'all to help me. I'll buy you some food, but we got to get this garage cleaned out. And a couple of brothers brought trucks, and garage doors went up. And so they say, what you want to start with? I said, well, start over there. And one started. I said, oh, no, I don't touch that. Leave that to you. And they've been like, okay, Bishop. And so one saw some paint cans, and he said, okay, I said, no, those are. And so eventually all of them just stood there, and they said, well, what we're going to do, because everything in here, you're saying don't touch it, but everything in there had, excuse me, I feel gone. Everything in there had an attachment to it. I had an attachment to it, an emotional attachment. It was no use to me. It could not do me any good, but mentally, I was attached to that. But until I concluded in myself that I must end this, I must detach myself from this to be able to do what has to be done. And so I began to say to them, I had to close my eyes and say, whatever you see that you feel needs to be thrown away, need you to just take it, put it on the truck. And I had a flashback. Being a child sitting in testimony service on a Friday night when the mothers would say, search me, God. If you find anything that shouldn't be, take it out and strengthen me, because I want to be right, I want to be saved, and I want to be whole. And the greatest joy was when I stood back and looked at the end result of them taking all this junk, all the stuff that I would never use again, but was attached to it. And I saw the trucks pulling out of my driveway with loads of stuff. I could not believe that much stuff. But that's the way we are with Indians. We, whether we like it or not, they are part of life. They're woven, I feel God up here, into the fabric of life itself, both when it goes well and when it doesn't. On the good side of life, for us to ever get to a new level, or this new season that you're going to be talking about in these next few nights, for a new tomorrow, for the next step, something has to end. I need you to just get out of your comfort and just shout, something has to end. Something has to end. That's why life has seasons, life has stages, and it has phases. For there to be anything new, old things always have to end. And we have to let go of things. That's when we start crying. God will say, let go. You have to be able to stay out of God's space with your children. And understand that when you've done your part, you have to remove yourself and let go and say, God, you got that. You've got to learn how to let go of offenses and past hurts and things. You got. My prayer for the church is because we know how to clap. When the music and the band is playing, we know how to move it and sway it, but we need an anointing to let go. We hold on to stuff. We hold on to people that we need to let go. We hold on to family that we need to learn to let go. Because if you don't let go, it'll kill you. Don't let go, it'll cause health issues. Learn to let go. Many times there is a struggle with embracing the new, because we have difficulty letting go in order to receive the new. Getting to that next level, that next dimension always requires three things. Yes. Ending something, leaving it behind, and moving on. There are some things in life, there are some things in ministry that you need to do. Three things. Learn the lessons. Repeat after me. Learn the lessons. Forget the details. Take one of your hands and just say, keep it moving. Learn your lessons. Get the details. Because if you meditate on some stuff, it will depress you. If you meditate on some stuff, it will steal your joy. It will take your peace. It'll make you angry. It'll make you almost spend 10 years behind bars if you meditate on it. That's why you can't meditate on it. You got to learn the lessons. Somebody say, learn the lessons. Forget the details of what happened. And help me say, keep it moving. Keep it moving. Growth itself, Dr. Cotwell, demands that we move on. Growth itself. If we're going to grow, you got to move on. In ministry, if you're going to grow, you got to learn to move on. In your careers, in your professions, you can't cry over a termination. You can't cry over bankruptcy. You can't cry over a foreclosure. You can't cry over someone who you got to learn how to move on. So God had been ready for Israel to move on, but Israel was not ready to move on God's timing. Wow. As a result of that, look at the fit they gave Moses in Scripture. They were in Egypt under Pharaoh for 430 years. Some say it was actually, in research, 215 years. Whether it was 430 or 215, either one's too long. Bible said, moreover, the entire generation of men who left Egypt during the Exodus would die in the desert, save for Joshua and Caleb, who did not slander the land. 40 years the Israelites wandered in the wilderness, eating quail and manna. Everybody else besides Joshua and Caleb got stuck. I need you to touch yourself so I can't get stuck. They got stuck by fear. They got stuck by dread. And they got stuck by intimidation. I want to speak to some spirits tonight. They saw giants over there and said, we be as grasshoppers. God didn't tell them that.
He did.
That was their perception of their self. And if we don't get a God perception of ourselves, we will wear our feelings on our shoulder all the time. We'll never be able to grow up and mature because we have tendency to think that everybody's out to get us, that everybody's talking about us, everybody's looking at us funny, and nobody appreciates me, and all of that trash talk. Trash talk from the enemy when you are stuck in fear, dread, and intimidation. I feel God in here. But Joshua and Caleb saw the same giants, but they all saw the promise, about the giants. No matter how big your giant is, you better see God's promise. Get up. Thank you, Lord. But the 10 spies got stuck. Tell yourself, I can't get stuck. One of the reasons I believe that stuck now is becoming the norm. The norm. I had pastors call me, Bishop, I'm stuck. My ministry's stuck. We need revival. People say I'm stuck. People get stuck. Denominations get stuck. I was at a denomination of leaders and pastors the other day, a different group, and I was surprised when I received the invitation, and all I could hear them saying, we're stuck. Careers, people get stuck in a career path and don't understand that there are more giftings to them than what they realize. That God's trying to bring out more gifts in them, but they're still stuck because they've been there. So businesses get stuck, and when they get stuck, they end up having to close down after so many years because they could not become relevant to the times. Organizations and corporations get stuck. Somebody say, I can't get stuck. I can't get stuck. It's because we don't know how to end things well. Without the ability to end things, people stay stuck. Never becoming who they were meant to be. Never accomplishing all that their talents and abilities should afford them. I can't begin to tell you or even articulate how much potential is in this room right now. I can't begin to tell you what I'm seeing in the spirit, even with little babies and little children that have potential, how much potential in my gift shop at my church. The manager of my gift shop is 15 years old. 15 years old, the manager of our gift shop, keeps up with the stock, works the computers, 15 years old. Not far from here is in Shreveport is Pastor Steve Preachley's son. You might have seen it on CNN, 11 years old, who just graduated from high school, 11 years old, now has received a 4-year scholarship in Louisiana University, one of the universities here in Louisiana, 11 years old. I can't begin to tell you the potential that's in this room right now. My 15-year-old just got accepted into the medical program, University of Missouri medical program for the summer, all expenses paid. But they told me in the finance room, he walked in a few Sundays ago, said, here's my tithes from my summer job, and said, I believe in God for this release, that I'll be one out of the 600 applicants. 600 applicants, they've only selected 60. And Sunday, he went in the finance room and said, here's my tithes, I got it. And he said, don't tell me, 15. But his dream and desire is to be a future cardiologist. Yeah. And it came to me a few months ago and said, Bishop, I've expanded my dream. I want my own practice. I want my own clinic, cardiology clinic. And I said, at 15 years old and the rate that you're going, God's already positioned and it's already built, it's already established. You just have to walk into it. I can't begin to tell you of the potential. I'm prophesying right now that in this sanctuary there is all kinds of giftedness in this room right now. You ought to throw your hand up and say, thank you, Lord. There is $1 million talent in this room right now, that anything in ministry that a pastor thinks he wants to do should and will be able to do it if you don't get stuck. If you don't get stuck. For some, you would never know it. The wealth of experience in this room can save a whole generation of girls and boys from going bad if somebody would understand what you've been through was not just for you, your hurt and your pain, but it was for you to be able to allow God to allow ministry to be birthed out of that, so you can help another generation not have to walk through what you walk through, but show them the downfall and pitfalls, but show them how to avoid it. Show them how to live for God and make Him first. There are too many that have become a slave in their Egypt, and they won't get in because Egypt represents captivity. It represents a bondage. It represents a prison community. I'm sorry tonight, and I said to Pastor, I am not going to stay, and neither am I going back to Egypt, because Egypt is not my destiny. Somebody can say, I am not going back to Egypt. For a long time, Israel was stuck in Egypt, but God still had other plans for them. And if you are feeling stuck tonight, I come to tell you that God has other plans for you. Look down your row, say, God has other plans for us. Or look at another pastor, say, God has other plans for us. That you may want to ask, what got Israel there in the first place? The more I live, the more I see, the more I hear people talk. The more I hear us talk in the church, the more I hear people in the world talk. Stuck seems to be the new norm today. People are stuck financially, can't get out of black holes they're in. I declare this is a new season. You are a tither, and you are a giver, and you are a seed sower. I declare this is a new season. People are stuck with health issues, can't seem to get it together, can't seem to have that denial of the cheesecake, and can't, never mind, I didn't mean to say cheesecake, can't seem to have that practice and discipline of eating correctly, because the older you get, your body goes through changes, and you may not be able to do and take in what you used to take in and how you used to take it in. People are stuck in relationships, don't know how to delete folk off the cell phone and off Facebook, don't know how to block them. You better block them and pray. That's what you got to do. You get stuck. People get stuck in careers on jobs and despise it. Life is too short to be getting up, taking showers, taking baths, going to a job you hate. You're miserable like that. You need to be praying, God, okay, it's time for change. It's a new season. Come on now. Amen. Life is too short to be miserable like that. Oh my God. You're worth more than that. Touch yourself. So I'm worth more than that. I'm worth more than that. But if you stop, you don't think you're worth much, and you think this is what I have to settle for. I come here tonight in Louisiana to preach to somebody. Yeah, I know you get a check. You say, but it's a check. So is that all you're worth is a check? Amen. Don't you want to do something that makes you cry? Don't you want to do something that makes your latter days your best days? Don't you want to go out of here with a smile on your face without regrets? So you need to say, God, if my season is changing, put me in position to cooperate with the change of my season. Oh my God, necessary endings for new beginnings. I don't want that to be your faith, because I don't want being stuck to be mine. God has other plans. Gonna talk a few more minutes
Yes,
here.
sir.
Staying stuck is not His plan. Somebody say, preach, Bishop. That's what they did back
Preach,
then.
Bishop.
Somebody just said this week in a conversation, I feel stuck. I want to remind you, endings is an important factor in our personal lives. Stop crying over stuff God ends.
Come on,
Stop crying over stuff God tears up. Stop crying over stuff God removes from your life. I don't know why I have to cry sometimes. I don't know why. Amen. Wipe your eyes and lift your hands and thank God for what's coming next. There are some things that have to be torn up. There are some folk that have to be removed from you so God can do in them what he needs to do in them, because he can't do in them because they are too close to you. So he might take your child to the gate of hell. Go to the gate, long as he don't go in. But when he bangs his head up against that gate long enough, when he come out, he'll know what he's supposed to know. God's face. And the parents in the night praying for your children, lift your hands, praying for your grandchildren. Can I give you a word? Your prayers will outlive you. Keep on praying. Keep on praying. There are relationships that need to go away. Sometimes in your family, they need to go away. Sometimes you find them not even speaking to you. That's all right.
It's all right.
Let God deal with them. Sometimes you're not assigned to them. And they're not assigned to you. Can I preach in here? And we're lifting our hands and coming to church frustrated, full of anxiety. And praise is not really praise, it's just an outlet to release your tension. That ain't no praise, you're hollering because you need to slap somebody. Running around the church trying to get that anger out of you. No, but real praise is when you can say it don't matter. I release it to God. You gotta love like you've never been hurt. You gotta worship like you've never been offended. When you can lift your hands and you can walk through your house and you can say, but I still love you. That child may have cussed you out and say, you've never done that for me, and hurt you to your heart. But you got to look at them beyond the flesh and see the God assignment on their life. And say, there's nothing but the legions in you talking. But I'm going to push my plate back. I'm going to miss a meal and hit my knees. And by the time me and God in heaven finish, that demon has got to let you go. Hallelujah. Because you will fulfill the plan of God over your life. Don't respond to emotion. Don't respond in your flesh. Respond in the spirit. We don't react. We respond by the word of God tonight. Hallelujah. So stop assigning yourself to folk you're not assigned to. That's not to say or insinuate that they're bad people. You just don't have the time or energy. God doesn't want you spending all your day and all your life in warfare. Yeah, you warfare sometimes, but sometimes you're supposed to be on the beach.
Come on now.
All the time, as if we're doing something like God said, that ain't your battle. But you don't know where they're fighting at.
Come on now.
You're supposed to be over there resting in me, and you over there in this fight you're not supposed to be in. What's yours and what's not yours?
Oh, God.
Got too much time, and some of us too old to be. Can't do what you used to do in this season. You can't take that stress. You can't handle that pressure on you. That's why he said, cast your cares upon me, for I care for you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. There's some practices and phases that must be relinquished. That there are some stages that I like that got to come to an end to open up space for the next one. If you don't end some stages, you won't have space for the next one. You don't. Some platforms were only for a season.
Yes.
Did you hear me on that?
Yes.
Some podiums were only for a season. Some breakups are necessary. Just tell your neighbor, some breakups are necessary. I want to tell you, I know that we don't like divorce. I know that church frowns upon it, but some things God didn't put together. And it needs to be Torah.
Oh, God.
An ending of some friendships. That's where your maturity comes in. And Lord, let me hurry up out of here.
Take your time.
You can't be no affirmation junkie and fulfill your kingdom purpose. Always looking for somebody to affirm you. Like yourself.
Yes.
Don't be a groupie that you always got to have folk pat you and you all right and you all right. Come on, learn to celebrate by yourself.
Yes, Lord. You better
Learn to
preach.
celebrate. If nobody befriends you on Facebook, you don't need it. Nobody takes you out there. I just be by myself so much. Well, maybe God has you in that season so he can deal with you and talk to you because you got too many other distractions. You've got to learn how to be at peace with you without having everybody else pat you on the back and affirming you, telling you all right. You got to know that you are the woman God is with, you are the man God is with, you are the boy or the girl that God is with you, and be satisfied with who God is making you and creating you to be. Can I preach up in here? I'm ending some activities that we're in because not all things are spiritually profitable for us. And we get involved in so much that takes us from the kingdom agenda. And all of a sudden God's blessed you and now you can't come to church because you got this going on and that going on and that. Some things you got to pick and choose and say, you know what, this is a distraction. And I remember that now one of the parents told me the other week and said, Bishop, I'll come to the early morning service because they got these games and tournaments going on Sundays. And I got to get my kids there. I got to do this. That's wonderful to have extracurricular activities and get our children involved in those things. My children were involved in those, but you got to know how to draw the line because you can't put them all this extracurricular stuff. I want them to get a scholarship. And they get a scholarship, but you've not spiritually equipped them. So when they leave your house, they're going out into the world with all kind of witchcraft and demonic activity. Your sons are not prepared. Your daughters are not prepared. You have not told your sons about bobcats and cougars. Come on now. You've not told your daughters about Mac Daddies and Sugar Daddies. Come on now. And you're sending them to witchcraft worshipers and philosophers. And they're pulling your child in and they don't know what to do because they don't have the tools that you should have been getting up, bringing them to church. But you have them involved in this and you have them involved in that. And they didn't have nothing in their spirit to know how to pray and call heaven down, to know how to bombard and say, Satan, the Lord rebuke you, I bind you in the name of Jesus. So some things you got to look at and say, if this is not profiting me, then I've got to make a decision. I've got to unplug from this. I've got to unplug from this. All of these often signal the beginning of a whole new life. And that whole new life, some things die and some things need to be killed. Let me say, some things die, some things need to be killed. Some things in your life, you got to look at and cry murder. You got to look at yourself and say, you know what? You've been tripping for too long. You've been had this attitude. You've been dealing with this anger for too long. No, I'm not going after my sister. It's not her. It's you. I'm not going after my brother. It's me. It's not your husband. It's you.
Yes. Come on now.
It's not your wife. It's you. So you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, what? You're not going to act like that anymore. You're going to allow the Holy Spirit to take control of your life, control of your emotions, and you're going to begin to act like a man of God and a woman of God. You're going to yield your emotions to the Spirit. You're going to yield your heart to the Holy Ghost and let Him do that perfect work that He needs to do. So some things need to be killed. And you got to first be able to look at yourself. And Paul said, I got to deny this flesh. I got to crucify it every day. Because come on now, I know y'all don't look like what you've been through, but you sure don't look like what you used to be. But some of y'all have not forgotten what you used to do and how you used to respond. Come on now. And no, we don't cuss folk out, but we have words that we use and substitute. Come on. And by the time our spirit keeps spewing that venom, we may as well have said what we wanted to say because God wasn't in none of it. And you created a hostile environment everywhere you go. Yeah. Nobody can get along with you at home. I'm not supposed to be talking like this. Nobody can get along with you on the job. There's always a manager, always employed. They bring you to the church. You can't even cut up the carrots and the lettuce without a conflict. Cut the carrots and lettuce up. Sing some song or stuff. Keep your spirit right. Personal, we get stuck. I'm about to wrap it up here, but I feel God up here. Relationships that are hurtful, and we still try to hang out with people who don't have our best interests at heart. I want to help you. The church has got to learn how to walk in maturity.
Yes, sir.
You got to learn that the church is like the net thrown into the sea. When it comes in, it brings some of every kind in with it. And it takes the Lord and the Spirit of the Shepherd and the Holy Ghost to help sort through things. You just can't yoke up with everybody that comes into the doors of the church. You got to know how there's some folk, they're not at that level that you need to be hanging out, but they need to be hanging out with you. You need to understand that if you're not strong in an area, you don't need to be hanging out with folk that's weak in that area.
All right. That's it.
You need to hang out with folk that check you when you're wrong. Hang out with people that's going to speak a word of truth to you, amen, when they see you going into carnality and down a path that's going to destroy you. In other words, you need accountability partners. There's some hindrances guys, there, and you need to know those who are help to you, those that are problematic, and even those that are toxic. And you got to be able to protect the church and to keep evil from invading it. And the way you do that is you're able to identify a spirit when it's not of God. You got to know when the spirit of witchcraft is infiltrating your church. You got to know when the spirit of witchcraft is trying to infiltrate your relationship. That means even if you're going to have your new beginnings that bring you into new seasons, sometimes it's not a relationship that we need to end, but it's behaviors. It's how we're acting in the relationship. Don't need to head to the courthouse, just change your behavior. Don't need to leave the church and say, my season's changing. No, it isn't. Change your behavior. We can have destructive patterns and practices that hold us back. And I know in the church, we testify, we dance, and we say, the things I used to do, I don't do no more. We say we don't club no more, we don't drink, we don't smoke no more. And we say we don't chase, we don't commit adultery and fornication, as if those are all the sins. But you didn't say anything about you still being mean and hateful. Come on, you didn't say anything about you being envious and jealous. The enemy will have you shout because you don't smoke crack, because you don't drink whiskey, but have you mean as a junkyard dog, being a hindrance in the kingdom of God. It was the murmuring and complaining that caused Israel to miss it. Because they could not hear God when the leader was speaking, but thus saith the Lord. And they even made God angry. He said, I'm going to kill him. And then the leader had to tell him, say, hey, if you do that, the enemy's going to think that you couldn't do what you said you were going to do. Moses had to intercede for him. Until we let go of what's not good. Let me say, let go of what's not good. Yeah. I know that we don't do those things in the world, but we're slowful. We procrastinate. And we act as if the things of God don't matter to us. But if we can be on time for work, we can be on time for church. Give ourselves to the sororities and fraternities and all that other extra stuff we get involved in. We can give ourselves to the kingdom of God for the perfecting of the kingdom. You got to learn to let go of unforgiveness. Until we let go of what's not good, we'll never embrace what is good. Your good and new season cannot begin until your bad ends. This is the lesson Israel learned. God cannot begin until the bad ends. Hear me on this. Taken from Ecclesiastes, the message is that there is a season for things to begin and a season for them to end. That's how life works, and that's how God works. Endings are not only a part of life, my brothers and sisters, they are a requirement for living. They are a requirement for thriving professionally and personally. Being alive, just being alive requires that we sometimes kill off things in which we were once invested. You might have invested your time and energy in something in the past, but when that door closes and that season's over, you need to uproot. Amen. Sometimes what was previously nurtured, you need to tear down what sometimes you have built from earlier time. It's called reframing. It's called throwing away. It's called tearing down. It's called hating what we once cherished. All are necessary for the new. Endings are crucial, but we rarely like them. But at the end of every ending is a new beginning. Help me say, at the end of every ending is a new beginning. Red Sea marked the ending of a horrible period of time for the children of Israel. Henry Blackaby in his writing says we all have mile markers in our lives. Times we look back and we can remember a specific turning point where God had a victory in our life. Where we turned away from something or made a new commitment. I have mile markers in my own life. At some point in your life, you come to a mile marker where you say to God, okay, you win. I said to the superintendent today that I believe tonight is a mile marker for him, a mile marker for you. I believe we come to a point where we say, God, you win. I can't do this on my own. Is there anybody here tonight besides me that will say, God, I can't do this on my own? If you don't help me, if you don't tell me where to go, if you don't tell me what to do, I'll follow you. I just need to hear. I need to hear from you. And tonight is a mile marker. Somebody said, God, I can't do it on my own. And maybe one of those turning points will be where you're sitting right now. As I'm preaching, as I'm talking to you, something is stirring in your spirit tonight. And as you and God are doing business, while I'm talking, you're saying, wow, this message is for me. You're coming to a decision that will affect the rest of your life. You need to know that you got to be cautious now in this season of decision making, and you got to ask yourself one or two things. When I make this decision, is it going to complement me or complicate me? And if I make this decision, is it going to complement the life of others, or is it going to complicate the life of others? Because your decision making not only impacts you, but it impacts everybody else that is connected with you. So you're coming to the point of this milestone marker here at OASIS or whatever ministry you're from tonight. Maybe your being here tonight has been strategically orchestrated by God. I want you to know this year, 2018, is not just any year, my brothers and sisters. It's a mile marker. It's a mile marker, I believe, for the body of Christ. Oh yes, because it is a prophetic season. If you believe that, just lift your hands and say, yes, Lord, yes, Lord. We're in a prophetic season when sons and daughters of God will be soaring high on the prophetic wings like eagles. You're going to be in a season for unexplainable accomplishments. I know what has happened in the past. Well, I know what it might look like to you. It might look like you're at a point that you don't see any good thing coming out of where you are. It could be at a point that it looks like none of the dots are connecting in your life and nothing is making sense. You don't see how this over here connects with that over there, and yet you're getting this prophetic word. You're coming to church, the man of God is confirming things, and you're hearing things on television, on the radio. You're opening up your Bible, and there it is again. But you're saying, but God, I don't see it. God said, I don't need you to see it right now, because if you saw it now, you would be premature of what I see developing in you. You've got to know that when God has you in a dark place, in a dark space, that is where you're being developed. I said something to my congregation. It's like that caterpillar that looks ugly while it's crawling, but then in that cocoon, it is the inner obedience. On the outside, it looks like nothing really desirable, but all on the inside, it's the development that's going on. That's why don't judge people by what you see on the outward. And please don't judge a person because they may not be emotional, like we sometimes want to think that everybody has to be in a worship service or an experience. Don't think that because somebody is loud, they are anointed. And don't think because they're quiet, they don't have any anointing at all. Because sometimes the loud one could be the tinkling cymbal, and sometimes the quiet one could be the one that walks past you, and you say, you all right, brother? And you say, I just got a headache. And they say, relieve me, Jesus, make me heal. And they just go right on out the door. And before you know it, the headache has left. So please don't judge each other as we do in the church in the flesh, but know each other in the spirit. Tell your neighbor next to you, know me in the spirit, know me in the spirit. Because when you know me in the spirit, you will understand that we're in a season now of unexplainable accomplishments. Help me say unexplainable accomplishments. That means that God is doing things for you even now that you won't be able to explain how it happened. Won't be able to explain that. But he had to get you to this point where you could not do anything with it or about it. Because if you could, you would have taken some credit. But when you're able to step back and shake your head and say, it had to be done. I do a prayer call on Mondays Wednesdays and Fridays, 5:30 in the morning. Some of you on there, you're on there, your mama's on there. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so a few weeks ago, this missionary, we have a focus every week. And it was on finances. The Lord said, this week is focused because I'm about to show myself mighty. To those that get up in the morning and give me the first fruits of their day, I'm going to show myself mighty. So I said to them after the first week, for some reason, this second week, the Holy Ghost said, take it another week because I'm working on something. I didn't know that there was a brother in Texas that was on my prayer call. And he had worked for a company back in 2008 that was tied into Enron. And when Enron went belly up, he lost everything he had. He said, I only came out, and he called me after the miracle took place with $1,200 in a class action lawsuit. And I've been trying to rebuild, Bishop. But ever since you started this prayer call in January, I've been on it. And you were talking about finances, and I grabbed hold of that because faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Everybody say, grab hold of this tonight. Grab hold of this tonight. And he grabbed hold of it. And he called me and he said he got a letter and something that he had to contact the people. The people called him, or however it worked. I'm trying to paraphrase it. But when he got the call, they asked him, was he who he was? And he told them yes. And they said, we have been looking for you. But keep in mind, since 2008, you do the math to where we are now. They said, sir, we have $140,000 that belongs to you. He said, Bishop, I started crying like a baby. He said, I cried so much on the phone that the lady on the phone started crying and shouting. He said, ma'am, you don't understand what I have been dealing with and going through. And I tell you, all while he was walking through that, God was building something in him. God was developing something in him. Where you are tonight, God is preparing you for what he wants to release. I said, okay, that's awesome, awesome. So I'm signing up towards this one day. Next day I get another call. It's from a young man that was young in our ministry, and he was trying to find himself and gave us family problems, and they're trying to discipline him. His stepfather, the father he only knew, and all of a sudden he wanted to go be with his real daddy and his mom and things, and so he got in some trouble and had to spend some time. But I got a call from him, and he said, Bishop, my mama told me to call you. He said to share the testimony, and I said, what is the testimony? So he said, I want you to know that all that time I was there with you, that it was not a waste. Sometimes we're pouring into people, and we think they aren't hearing us, but the Lord said to me, you just obey and leave the outcomes to me. You just do what I tell you to do, and you leave the outcomes to me. And he said, you know, I landed, I got out, I've been straight, Bishop, haven't gotten in any trouble, and I landed an awesome job with an oil company in Oklahoma. And he said, you know, that's major. And he said, I was doing so well, and they came to me, and they said, we want to promote you up the corporate ladder. He said, but then they had to do an extensive background check. And when they did the extensive background check, they found out I had a felon. And they came in and said, we got to terminate you because you got a felon. My whole world crumbled. And he called his mom, and he was having a meltdown. And his mother said, remember what Bishop said in his teaching. She said, dig down into your spirit when he said, we're in a season where God will touch the man's heart. They will say, we don't know why we are doing what we're doing. You're in a season of turning points. Put your hand up and say turning points. So he gets a call from his boss, and the boss says, I've been fighting for you ever since you got fired. He gets a notification from corporate that says, we're going to ignore the fact you got a felon. Because everybody deserves a second chance. And we're going to promote you as if the felon was never there. I need somebody to give him the praise without a drum, without a harmony. Praise him for your son. Praise him for your daughter. Praise him for your grandchildren. Praise him for their future.
Thank you, Lord.
Come on, give him praise. Tell your neighbor, you're in that season of unexplainable accomplishments. You won't even know how you are doing what you're doing and how it happened, all you'll be able to say is, it's all God. It's all God.
All God.
Somebody want to practice right now. Let's say my prayer times. It's all God.
All God.
Come on, take this some steps and say it's all God.
All God.
That next house that he has for you to move into, when you move into it, say it's all God.
All God.
That next promotion, that next career move, it's all God, baby. I can't take when the church begins to fill up, it's not because I got a good musician. It's not because I got a good no, it's all God. It has to be all about God. Would you pray for me? I don't need nothing. I just come up to say just because. And he looks at it, and there's more than what he could ever imagine. Because you have been blessed. It's that season for the church that we don't have to look to the world and be Indians. Israel was looking at the Philistines. They were standing on the hill, looking at what belonged to them, wanting it, but it was already theirs. They just had to get the courage to go in and possess it and take it. You have to speak till your neighbor start talking.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Lord.
Touch your neighbor, says in me.
It's in me. It's in me. It's in me.
Ministry. Encourage your wives tonight. Ministry is unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going to show up, who's going to stay home, who's going to take their times on a cruise.
That's right.
I wouldn't be on no cruise with my time.
No, Lord.
No, it didn't.
Not the way they're thinking.
That's a disaster.
So you have to trust
They
God.
thinking.
So, you had a Sunday. Any deacons in here? Deacons? Finance people? Got some money? Anybody? I ain't gonna shoot you. I just want to know you. I said, how is it today? They said, we're 5,000 short of what we needed for budget. And I said, all I need y'all to do is when y'all count in faith. We count, oh Lord, how we gonna make it?
Oh God.
Don't bring that foolishness.
That's right.
I'm having you standing up here, preaching faith, and y'all in there with down hands.
Woo! Glory!
So the count to the goodness and say, God, you can.
Hallelujah!
You better say it.
To my deacons, don't worry about it. I got y'all. Let me know where we are. Don't keep me in the dark. Let me know where we are. I got y'all the faith in. Because, excuse me, I feel something working in my soul. Because God got a track record with me. And so I'm in chapel. I did a Wednesday day chapel. And we have outreach and do broadcasts for 40-something years on the radio. And have a lady visiting. After chapel, she says, can I see you in your office? And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I'm not a member, but I've been coming. And I was blessed with an overflow. And I asked the Lord, what am I to do? He says, share it with Bishop Vaughn and his church. And you know, she wrote the check out there, and you don't be looking at nobody's check when they give it. Yeah.
God bless you.
Praise the Lord. God bless you. I looked at it, it was $5,000. Then I said, you got to speak it. So I walk in Deacon's office, he's retired and had office, and I threw it on the table, in a kind way. I said, don't you tell me what to do. Speak to you.
I love it.
Have another son. Because when God is challenging your faith, He's challenging your future. If He can't trust you down here, He will take you up, take me higher. For what? You can't handle this. So when I see you can handle this, I'll take you higher. And I'll keep you climbing.
That's it.
Because I'm so much God that you can never reach a height in me. I'm so much God that there's no width to me. So my son says to me, he's one of our business administrators, and every Sunday I said, they'll let me know, they'll send me the spreadsheet, and we're going to stand in there. But we got to go. I'm like, they finish this, but I'll be back.
Yeah. Ooh,
Well,
yes. Yes. Yes.
you know, you don't invite yourself. I feel God up in here.
Yeah. Woo! Woo!
So my son says to me, he said, Dad, here we go. He said, we're 10,000 short, but we need today. You know, summer months, vacation, you know, football. And so I said, don't worry, God got us. So I had a white gentleman called, who was a friend of my brother's, who was an evangelist. My brother's deceased, but they played football together in school. And he said, I'd like to go to breakfast with you. I want to stay connected to your family. I said, sure. We met at the breakfast place, and we're sitting there, and he's talking about my brother in school, tackling them and breaking noses and bones. And that was his spirit. Anyway, so I'm getting ready to leave. And he says, hold up a minute. I said, no, I'm going to take care of the ticket. No, you took care of it. I said, let me take care of it. He said, I got something for you. He said, I have some money in my trust that I need to get rid of. He said, I don't want a record of it. I don't want a letter. I just need to get rid of this money. And I want to know, can I give a donation to your church? I said, well, certainly. So he takes this long check from God, writes the check out. And all I saw in the check was trust, no name or nothing, just said trust. And so he gives me the check, and politely I fold it. I don't look at it. Put it in my pocket. So I'm in my car in the parking lot of the restaurant. I said, okay, God, you got to track me. What you doing? I know you're doing something. I said, let me make sure he's gone so he can see you get it. I looked at the check, and I looked again. It was $10,000. All because I spoke. Really. I didn't have to do shenanigans. Just spoke. And I was what was in my spirit? His word. Have I hid in my heart?
Yes.
That I won't doubt him when I need him.
Yeah.
I called my son. I said, God did it again. He said, Dad, what did God do? I said, how short did you tell me we were saying? He said, 10,000. I said, I got 10,000. He said, take it on to the bank. I want you to stand. Get ready to pray. I'm going to tell you something about me. About Bishop. I'm not out to impress people.
Yes, sir.
With a presentation or preaching style.
Yes, I love it. I love
Those days, you know, are long gone. I'm out to empower them and to help them. There comes a time, Superintendent, that a player isn't a player on the field anymore. He becomes the coach.
Right. I love it.
I'm not a player. I'm not trying to tune from B flat to A flat and sweat and get you all hyped. But I want people have drawn from me to be able to say, that was God. That was God speaking to me. So tonight I come as a father, as a coach, not as a player on the field, to bless your light. All of you, I'm for sure, pretty much probably everybody here tonight, you're about to bless nations with what's inside you. I said to the superintendent, only God can orchestrate this night with the same night of the homegoing service of Bishop Terry. I'm on the plane, sitting next to one of the renowned evangelists and pastors with UPC, meeting a need. His wife just passed away with cancer. It's 3 small children that he has, that now he's having to trust God with, and how God connected him at a time that he needed me and I needed him. Only God orchestrated that like that. So I'm recognizing that as I'm prophesying to your man of God, to this district, that revival is not around the corner, it is here. In this season, that you're being experienced of renewal in every department of your life are being released. May I say to you, nothing about you will look the same after tonight. Now let's clap your hands. When God declared, let it be, he saw light. The word of God is like a bullet in a loaded gun. It remains impotent until you pull the trigger. Tell them your mouth must trigger the revelatory word loaded in your heart by the Holy Spirit. Tell them your life just got bigger. Open your mouth, hold that hand, and trigger a blessing. Load that person with the blessings of God. Open your mouth. All in this house, get them by their hand. Pray for them. Pray blessings on their life, on their family, on their health, on their finances. Come on, get that hand, get that hand, get that. Come on, get that hand. Release it in this room. Release it. Speak it in the name of Jesus. Speak the spoken word. The devil is afraid when you speak. Make him run. Make him run. If you keep quiet, he's happy. You don't know how powerful you are by speaking in the name of Jesus. Destabilize your enemy by speaking the word. It is written in Jesus' name. Now take those hands and bless God in this place when I pray. receive it. Tell your neighbor, don't let your fear prolong the good thing. Don't let your unbelief avoid this season. Don't let your mindset confuse you.